what all I see. I originated from a boundless queendom. Royalty.
You are now tuned in to Everyday People Radio Show on Intellectual Radio and iHeartRadio station. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you allowed us into your space. We greatly appreciate you. Give us a call here. The number is 708-223-8953. Again, that's 708-223-8953. We're going to have a great show for you. I am bombarded by the poet family.
Poet.
Who are we?
Poet.
Who are we? Poet. Who are we? Poet.
Stomp. They in the house, yo. So we're going to have an amazing show for you guys. I just like to say thank you, give shouts out to the artists who have allowed me to be able to promote their CDs on my show. One, Black Butterfly, who you just were listening to, and you listened to at the beginning and the end of my show. Her whole CD is the bomb. It is a banger. All 7 songs. Hood Raised, Just Mike, The Poet, and Mannerism. I greatly appreciate you guys, and it's good stuff. I'm only gonna play good stuff, so you guys need to check them out. People Show is based on us as humans, as everyday people. It's designed to educate and heal the disconnect. How do we do it? Together. The issues we face today did not start overnight, and they will. And though negativity starts with one thought and one calculated plan put into action, once it's presented, fed, and able to influence others, that's when it grows and festers to begin to affect the masses. What I hope to and pray to accomplish with this show is to mend the divide amongst humanity, to open eyes, ears, and hearts to embrace peace and harmony. I know there are a lot of people out there who will hear and see this and say, what I speak of is impossible. I also know that the word impossible clearly states I'm possible. It's possible to do and to be or achieve anything and everything I put my mind and heart to. Just as negativity manifests and develops and grows, so does positivity. I often ask, are you a builder or a breaker? This is a choice we all have to make every day, whether consciously or unconsciously. We decide daily to do good or do bad. If you're interested in sponsoring or donating, what better cause than Everyday People Radio Show? You're giving back and supporting the broadcast that's all about you, all about the people, all about connection, love, peace, and humanity. You can advertise on Everyday People Radio Show. Would you want to do that? Because your business, events, or products is the commercial. There are no commercials here, and it will be broadcast and advertised your way. It will be promoted the way you want it to be promoted. You get on the spot exposure, which means your product, business, or event will be aired and shared over and over again, give you national and worldwide. So that being said, speaking of advertising, wow, Word of Wordplay is having an all-day event. That's right, all day artist concert. It's going to be Saturday, April 28th, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. That's going to be the midday through the midnight at the Smokefield Room, located at 3359 West 79th Street in Chicago, Illinois. Get ready for some finger snaps, hand claps, and rewinds from great entertainers. It's a $20 general admission wristband, and that's an all-day pass for this awesome concert. Go to eventbrite.com, World of Wordplay 3-year concert. For the first time ever, 2 open mics, midday and midnight wordplay will be combined to bring you the best of the world of wordplay. This is a once-in-a-lifetime event you do not want to miss. If you want more information, call 773-251-5711 or email ROYALRKITEC, Royal Architect @gmail.com to connect with the host, Royal Architect. I'll see you there. We're going to take a short commercial break and we'll be right back.
I had 2 praying grandmothers, and they both prayed real hard. But without those 2 praying grandmothers, I wouldn't have made it this far.
Somebody pray for me. I'm talking to the good Lord. Somebody pray. My grandmama prayed for me. That's how I made it this far. That's how I made it. Somebody pray for me. I'm talking to the good Lord. Somebody pray. My grandmama prayed for me. That's how I made it this far. That's how I made it.
Coming up as a child, I was always blessed. Stayed in church and Sundays best. 2 sets of grandparents that spoiled me on both ends, toys and gifts until there was no end. Birthdays and Christmas was always superb, and my 2 praying grandmothers made sure I always received the word. It was so much fun switching grandparents' house every other weekend. I wish I could relive that stage all over again.
Somebody pray for me. Talking to the good Lord. Somebody pray. My grandmama prayed for me. That's how I made it this far. That's how I made it. Somebody pray for me. I'm talking to the good Lord. Somebody pray. My grandmama prayed for me. That's how I made it this far. That's how I made it.
So I went through my stages of adolescence with a few scrapes and bruises. It was nothing but blessings. I wasn't an angel. I did my share, but now I realize those prayers were there. Even through high school, I was a hot mess. Between game banging and girls, I kept my family straight. I lost a lot of friends to bullets that didn't pull through. It was the prayers of my grandmothers. I thought y'all knew.
Somebody pray for me. I'm talking to the good Lord. Somebody pray. My grandmama prayed for me. That's how I made it this far. That's how I made it. Somebody pray for me. Talking to the good Lord. Somebody pray. My grandmama prayed for me. That's how I made it this far. That's how I made it.
So I'm humble and thankful for those 2 strong women that sent up prayers and all the favor I was given. Every other weekend, I stayed in the church. So I truly know that prayer really works. So you may ask me, how did you survive 44 years in Chicago? It was the prayers of my grandmothers. I want you to know. Rest in peace to my grandmothers. They have moved on. Y'all better believe those prayers still remain strong. I had 2 praying grandmothers, and they both prayed real hard. But without those 2 praying grandmothers,
Welcome back. You're now tuned in to Everyday People Radio Show on Intellectual Radio and iHeartRadio station. Please give us a call. The number is 708-223-8953. Get to know the awesome poets that are on the panel today. We're so glad you allowed us into your space. We appreciate you greatly. We have here Brother O. We have Firekeeper and Word Warrior, who you were just listening to. That piece was called 2 Praying Grandmothers. Word Warrior, tell us about your CD and that particular piece.
Wow, so that was my very first CD. I'm actually about to go in the studio and work on my next CD.
Okay.
It will be long. I'm going to do a CD and book release together this summer, July 15th.
That's my goal too.
So anyway, wow. The CD is amazing. First, giving all praises to God, who is the head of my life. But second, my producer, CEO, and mentor, the legendary DeAndre Hawthorne, a.k.a. Black Ice, a.k.a. DJ. He's my DJ at my event, DJ Tony Swagger. So He did all of that. Actually, the hook that you hear on there is Reese from Chicago People 3-piece. He was a singer in 3-piece. And it's amazing how great minds come together, because I was at home asleep and Black Ice was trying to calm me, down, and I'm asleep because I have a crazy hours. Anyway, he found Reese. They negotiated a price. He created the hook, and it's a hit. Nice. I love it. Yeah. I love it. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's a good piece. That's very nice.
Yeah.
So I want each of you to introduce yourselves and tell the people where you're from and what drives you to do the art you do. Brother O, I'll let you go ahead and start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Brother O, the Living Miracle, professor of poetry, hailing from the city of East Chicago, Indiana. What drives me to do poetry is is that I have a unique story to tell, and I want as many people as I can through my words and through my poetry.
Okay. Firekeeper?
I call myself Firekeeper because during prehistoric days, there was a person whose responsibility it was to make sure that the fire never went out. Because if the fire was extinguished, the tribe would perish. And that person was called the Keeper of the Fire. That was not their title, that was their name. And in solidarity with our ancient ancestors, I call myself Firekeeper because I want to keep alive in my people our journey in this country, what has happened to us, what has transpired, and why we need to never forget what has happened and continue to strive to be better.
Yes.
And I am Word Warrior from Chicago, basically the South Side. That name originated from an ex-girlfriend. She was very sickly. She had cancer that was in remission, bowel syndrome. She had fibromyalgia with several other things going on. And when we get on the phone, and she would say, "Baby, this hurt, baby, that hurt, baby," and I would say, "Let's pray." And she was like, "Man, you're a prayer warrior." So when I stepped on the poetry scene, they like, "Bro, you need a name." And I just went from prayer warrior to word warrior.
All right. Yes. And all you guys, your names definitely fit. What or who inspires your poetry?
Wow. Mm. That's an interesting question. Life. Life is poetry. Everything we do is poetry. Music, rap, everything, just life. My mentor, Black Ice, says we write best when we're in our feelings. He said if you want to define a true poet, you have to be able to write from every situation in life, no matter what it is: incarceration, molestation, homelessness. So, life, to answer life, inspires my poetry.
Um, okay. What about you, brother? Oh, what inspires your poetry?
Um, what inspires my poetry is basically things that I personally experienced, including all the health challenges I had, dealing with bullying, dealing with rejection, dealing with the love and relationships, dealing with all types of things. And people tell me I'm a very prolific because I write poems that they can relate to, the audience can relate to.
Okay. Do you have a piece you can share with us now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'm going to share a little tiny portion of my poem called From a C Student in High School to Poet Laureate.
You just want to share a little piece, or you want to share the whole thing?
Oh, just a little bit.
Okay.
Just a little sample.
Okay.
When I graduated from high school 25 years ago, my grade point average was exactly 2.0. You couldn't tell that I used to be a C student, and right near the bottom half of my graduating class, by the way, I write poetry. I was a very articulate, intelligent young brother who had potential to be a professor in one of the top universities in the nation, or work for a major technology company, creating computer programs and apps on smartphones. However, I allowed negative thoughts and my infatuation with females to distract me and knock me off my square in high school. Now, many of you who may be listening to this poem right now may be absolutely shocked and surprised that brother professor of poetry was once an underachiever in high school. My dear brothers and sisters, I was one of the smartest brothers in East Chicago Central High School during the 90s. Yeah, I didn't apply myself when it came to studying. Goof off who lacked focus and was on the path to accepting mediocrity as a way of life. I wasn't even sure that I was going to get accepted into college. However, by the grace of God, I happened to get accepted. Now I'm going to talk about the poet laureate part. What makes me unique as a poet It's my incredible ability to write on any subject. I can write for editorial for a magazine, a sports commentary, a major online blog, on the advice column. I'm just that prolific with it. I won many awards. However, becoming the first poet laureate last year was arguably my greatest award I've ever won, and another crowning achievement for me as a writer and a poet. To those of you who don't have knowledge what a poet laureate is, a poet laureate is a poetess exceptional writing skills. One of a kind poet utilizes his power and of speed life, and a special poet who consistently demonstrates dedication and excellence in the art of poetry and uses his or her words to touch thousands of lives. 25 years ago, I was a C student in high school, but today you are looking at the first poet laureate of POET. Who knows, brothers and sisters? You may be looking at a future poet laureate representing the state of Indiana. Thank you for your time.
Amen. Nice. Finger snaps. Now, you also do photography. What got you interested in that?
One of my cousins, Casey Mitchell, he's a photographer for Telemundo, and I was impressed by his work, and I just kind of got off into photography to capture the moments of the poets on stage and things like that. So I'm very talented in that area now.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel that I want to do my part to support the art of poetry, and I've done that. So
Okay, nice. Fire Keep drives you and inspires your poetry.
When you first asked the question, my first thought was I had two inspirations, and but as I sat and I thought about it, I decided I would add a third.
Okay.
Number one, I'm inspired by the youth of today, the Black youth. I would say the community, the young poets that I meet are so intelligent, are so articulate, are so clever, are so feeling and passionate and compassionate that when I look at them and hear them, I sometimes feel shame. I actually do because I feel I can't reach that. I can't reach that. They are awesome. And I include Brother O and Word Warrior and my other young poet members because I am the elder in our organization. And so everyone is younger than me. Okay, I have not met anyone older than me in the poetry. I feel I'm the oldest thing there. So I'm inspired by these young poets because uh, what they're doing is so important, and they must have passion and they must have compassion. And I realize that they have children, they have jobs. And when I was young and I had children and I had a job, I couldn't do what they're doing now. So it's a difficult task to try to have children and raise a family, shop and buy shoes and comb hair and all of that and speak poetry and perform poetry. That is remarkable. So when I'm out here doing something, I don't have all of those responsibilities that young poets today have. So I'm inspired by them. That's number one. Number two, I'm inspired by Black people, period. Black people's greatest achievement is that we survived white people in this country. And the fact that we did let me know that we are an exceptional people. I cannot even express how much I admire Black people. And I'm speaking of Black people as a collective because we have survived what no other people have been able to survive in this country. And we are still surviving and we are thriving and we are producing and we are doing all the things that many other people cannot even do. but we're doing those things in spite of the challenges.
Is that our call?
So I'm inspired by Black people. I am recently someone who learned a great deal about melanin, and that has also inspired me because I do believe what is being said about melanin. And melanin is so important. And I believe that melanin, which is that essence that gives us our color, is what allows us to run faster, dance better, sing better, invent more, create more. And it has been proven that melanin is powerful. So I'm inspired by Black people. But because of the recent incidents in this country, such as the shooting in Florida, I have become inspired by the white youth also, because I feel that they are approaching this country with an honesty that their generations before them did not approach. They are approaching it and they're being real and they're being active. So I'm inspired by white youth. Therefore, I can say I'm inspired by Black youth, white youth. So I would just merge it together and say the youth of today, and I'm inspired by Black people. That's my inspiration.
Nice. Now, you are amazing. First of all, I love you forever. You said to me the last time you were here that I was your kindred spirit, and I was like, wow, like that blew me. I really love you, and I really appreciate that. And I was honored by that comment. But you've written 4 full-length plays, 2 educational workbooks, 3 children's books, a novel, a short fiction, and everything has been published or cited internationally. You're an award-winning playwright, author, spoken word artist, social activist, retired educator, a living legend, and I'm honored to know you.
Well, thank you, Miss
So
Anthony.
I greatly appreciate you, and I'm so glad that you made it here, because I was like, I need her here today. Like, I just post, and the only way that I could think of to do it on my show in 1 month is to just do multiple. I just greatly appreciate all of you for coming, Brother O, Word Warrior, the poet community, poet. I know I'm not a part, but hey, I love you, fam.
Well, the poet community admire you for what you're doing, because you're giving us a platform on which we can share our views and our aspirations and our voices.
So, that being said, can you give us a piece that you would like to share today?
Yes, I think I would like to do a piece called Black Like Me. I struggle to be humble in the presence of those not as black as me, not as melanated, pigmented, elevated, God created black as me. I understand the universe is made of 95% dark matter and dark energy like me. My blackness protects me from the sun. I try not to boast of the sun and my blackness or affinity, but being richly melanated. I hold the secrets to the universe, the essence of divinity. Therefore, I struggle to be humble in the presence of those not as black as me. And I have learned a polar bear appears to be white, but the white appearance of his fur is simply to camouflage him from his enemy. If you shade the hair of a polar bear, he's black like me. His blackness absorbs the energy from the sun. The energy converts to heat. His blackness keeps him warm. All this time we thought that his fur keeps him warm, but that's not right. That's not right. His blackness keeps him warm, and he's black like me. I struggle to be humble in the presence of those not as black as he, not as melanated, pigmented, elevated, God created black as he. I understand the universe is made of 95% dark matter and dark energy like he. His blackness in the Arctic keeps him warm. And I have learned a beautiful zebra appears to be striped, black and white, black and white. But is that right? The striped appearance of her fur is simply to optically confuse her enemy. If you shade the hair of a zebra, she's black like me. Her blackness emits the heat from the sun. In other words, her blackness keeps her from getting too warm. I struggle to be humble in the presence of those not as black as she. And you know about the black crow. I cross my heart and hope to die if I should lie. It's the smartest bird to ever fly in God's sky. This bird can talk and it can use telepathy, but because it's black, it has a bad rap. Therefore, I struggle to be humble in the presence of those not as black as it. If you understand the words coming from my mouth, it's some deep sugar and it's sweet and it's deep. Whether red bone, tan, or ebony, if your old folks come from Africa, we be family. And we cannot let Willie Lynch's plan stay true and separate ourselves because of color or our hue. We be family. We be family. My people make love line on the line of the equator. They don't need suntan lotion. The sun is the potion. They love each other. They love the sun loves them. It makes them come. Little one. Black is the universe, a gift from the sun. Black as a polar bear, a zebra, a black crow. Black as the universe. Cancer free and black like me. Therefore, I struggle. I try, but I struggle to be humble in the presence of those not as black as we.
And that's that piece. Yeah, just soak in that for a minute, marinade. Wow. Wow. Recent, you performed 1993 at the Vagabond Theatre for their Journey to Forgiveness event. It's about experience.
Yes, I suppose I was at another theater and a young man saw me, and I did not know him, but I got a message on my email that he wanted me to come to his event, which was this past Sunday, and perform 1933. And so I began to think, where could he know me from? And I remembered that I was at Collaboration Theater last month, and they had, I was scheduled to do that poem with this same theater, Vagabond Theatre, and it was called The Journey to Forgive Us, which was a collective of people of different nationalities and groups who wanted to promote racial healing in this country. And I went to the event at Collaboration Theater to perform 1930. They said, "Did you read your email?" I said, "No." They said, "It's been canceled." And they said, "But there's another group here tonight who's not involved with that at all, and they're having a production, and I'll ask them if they would like for you to do a poem before they do their play." And so they asked, and the answer was yes. And so I went in and I did 1933. And so apparently Nathan Stanton was someone who was in the audience and heard me, because he did email me and ask if I would do it. And so I did it. I went to Black Women's Expo Sunday morning, and Sunday afternoon I was at the Vagabond Theatre doing 1933. And later that evening, I was at Soulless Souls 6-year anniversary. Eddie, I'm sorry. It was. I correct myself. Thank you for correcting me, Word Warrior. It was Eddie's 6-year anniversary, and I was so happy that even though I was tired, I was so happy that I went, because it was a fabulous event.
Yes. So, do you remember the name of the event that you actually ended up performing in 1993?
The name of the event was called Journey to Forgive Us.
Okay. So, but Journey to Forgive Us was canceled, right?
It was canceled when it was at Collaboration Theater.
But you went somewhere else to do it.
But the person who was producing that event and canceled it, emailed me and said, "We're going to do the event now.
Okay.
And would you please come and do 1933?
Okay, got it. Awesome.
Yes.
Do you think that it made a difference for those in attendance?
I think it made a great difference, because what I have been doing is I've been making comments commentary after my performances because most of my performances are Black oriented, I would say, and also historically based. And so when we look back at the history it's not a pretty history. And when you are producing or you're performing in front of groups that are not always all Black, many times there's going to be hurt feelings and because of the poetry. But I am fire keeper and I'm going to keep the fire
Yes.
and I'm going to keep it real. I bear that torch. And so uh, I was at an event um, about 3 weeks ago where I performed in front of about 200 uh, female police officers from the Chicago Police Department. And I did These Shoes, which was a Harriet Tubman piece. And when I finished, it was the strangest feeling because initially there was no applause. It was silence. And I usually end the piece with my Harriet starts off with a salute to God, and then she turns it into a fist of Black power. And I end it with the words, Black people, there's no way we can lose. And so, and there were some lines in there that I felt might have been threatening to the police officers because it had lines that said, street on a summer day, and the police stop you for doing what they say. They mostly want to call you nigger. They want to make you mad. And they went on like that. And so I think that maybe the police felt a little threatening and that I was not promoting police, period. So after I did that and the plot, I asked if I could go back up on the stage. The ending prayer, I said, may I go up and make a statement? And I was told I could. And I went up and what I told them was this. When I do a poem about history or it's about what has happened to Black people, I said, what happens is people in the audience feels anger. And many of the Black people many of the white people in the audience feel guilt. And the problem with that is we're angry or we're feeling guilty about something over which no one who exists today has had any control. And I pointed out that during the Nuremberg trials in Germany, after the Holocaust, the most important words that were spoken there and what determined the sentences of those people who were guilty were the words, every individual is responsible for his own action. I say, and that is a truism. Every individual is true for their own action. So if that is true, and it is, then Black people cannot be angry with white people today for what white people's ancestors did in the past. And Black people and white people cannot be guilty or feel guilt because of what their ancestors did in the past because they did not do it. We can only be responsible for what we do today. And what happens is that when we don't do that, we who are trapped in modernity are left with the emotions of anger and guilt, both of which are not conducive to racial healing. So we must throw off the shackles of anger and guilt from the past because the past is the past. We cannot go back and change what has happened. And so this is what I say, and this is what I said to those police women, and they gave me a round of applause. And many of the white people did come up to me and say, thank you so much for saying those remarks. And so when I was at the event on Sunday and I performed 1933, I did the same thing after I had performed 1933, which is a poem about lynching. And again, many whites came up to me and thanked me for the remarks that I made afterwards. And then they said, yes, they enjoyed the poem. So that is that. And I hope I was not too long-winded.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. That's what I wanted. I love your education. I love it. I love sitting in your presence and listening to you.
Thank
That's
you.
what's up. Okay. Word Warrior, tell us about your journey into poetry. Your book is titled A Poet's Journey, Word Warrior from Incarceration to Inspiration. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so that book was completely written while I was incarcerated. Again, like a statement that we write best when we're in our feelings. So, in order to get away from the wildness while I was incarcerated, so I did 7.5 months in Cook County Jail and 97 days, first and last time in the penitentiary at Shawnee Correctional Facility. And to get away from the madness, that was my runaway. So to get away from the actual fact of being locked up, I would just grab a pen and a pad and I wrote. And the entire book was written while incarcerated. And I believe there is 100 pieces in that book. And that book has sold tremendously on Amazon, 700 copies.
So is it just poetry or telling stories about what you were experiencing while you were incarcerated?
So it's both.
It's both.
It's all poetry, but it is the stories, like different chapters of going through things. And wow, it's a very good book. I recommend it.
I want people to go out and look for the book on Amazon, but I want to know, can you just give us like a little excerpt from a certain part of the book that talks about something and the piece that goes with that? If you can recall any of it.
I know like the first chapter talks about like fighting God, because I always knew who God was, but God did not become my intimate friend until I became incarcerated, because it took me to become incarcerated to know that he was all I needed. And once I realized that, everything just was fine. Time went by, and it's just different chapters about talking about God, being incarcerated, just various things that I dealt with mentally to make it out. If I wouldn't have had God, I wouldn't have made it out. But I will say one thing stood out. While I was in Cook County Jail, I went to church. There was a very young minister, and he said, "You guys can go out the front door where they're going to just release you and you go home. You can go out the back door where you're going to go to the penitentiary. But you won't be released mentally until you figure out what your purpose is in life." And it was then I prayed for my purpose. And God said, "Your purpose, son, is to minister to the masses of people through your poetry." And it took all of that for me to sit down and understand that this is what I needed to do. And I have to make a comment. The first time on the event, there was a lady who pulled me to the side, and she said, "I see you all over Facebook. I see you on the internet radio shows. You do a lot. Why are you doing it?" And I told her that I have a purpose, and it's better to be obedient than to sacrifice. And she said, "Wow, I understand now."
Do you have a piece that you could share, tell us a little bit, go a little bit in depth, expressed?
Yes. So this piece it's a little bit different when God is in your life. It's a little bit different when God is in your life. It's a little bit different when you got your mind right. It's a little bit different when God is in your life. It's a little bit different when you got your mind right. When God is the head of your life, you act a different way. When God is in your life, you are thankful every day. Once you accept him and receive him, your days will be bright and never be dim. When you pray for something and it comes to you, your faith increases. I thought you knew. You will not worry because you have faith. When you trust in God, he takes worries away. Challenge God to do some things, and with faith and belief, Watch the joy he brings. It's a beautiful place when God has reformed your mind. Your outcomes and issues are truly divine. It's a little bit different when God is in your life. It's a little bit different when you got your mind right. It's a little bit different when God is in your life. It's a little bit different when you got your mind right. I'm talking peace and joy, happiness and pleasure. That's when you know God has got your mindset together. You act a different way. You hang with different friends. You know you are covered by His grace every day from beginning to end. An intimate relationship is what I'm talking about. Extreme favor, please believe me, without a doubt. What else can I tell y'all? What else can I say? Make God the head of your life and y'all will live a different way. I'm done.
All right.
Word,
Y'all
warrior.
yes, that's him. Word warrior. He come out like a warrior. Every time you hear him, he's like, okay, well, I ain't mean to. It's okay, it's cool. But it's all in love. So that's what's up. Brother O, you're known by many names, but I'm gonna focus on two. I would like for you to express to us where the name came from and what the name is about. The first one is the professor. People call you the professor. Why do they call you the professor?
Was actually I was performing on the radio on the DSR network. The CEO and head of that network, King Spade, gave me the title the professor of poetry because it's like I have a lot of knowledge on a lot of things, and I'm just sharing that knowledge. As I mentioned earlier in my poem, I'm very intelligent and I'm very articulate, but I did not apply myself. But now poetry gave me the opportunity to really apply what I've learned to share with people who otherwise are not have known things about Black history, things about love and relationships that I've been through, and it's like wow. It's like people come to me all the time. He said they would tell me, "Hey, brother, aren't you a preacher or a professor?" I said, "No, I'm just a messenger of God's word."
Okay.
And when the Bible says preach the gospel, that's what I do. I'm not one of those who's I'm a biblically smart person, but I use Bible scriptures to interpret them in my own way so that people can understand what I'm saying.
And then the second one, the walking miracle. What's that all about?
Well, living miracle part
The
comes
living
from
miracle. Okay, let me get it right.
the living miracle part comes from my experience in 3 open heart surgeries throughout my life. When I was born with a congenital heart condition called transposition of the great arteries, which means that my arteries are actually switched at birth. And some of the doctors did not predicted that I would not live past my first year of life. Now, 43 years later, I'm still here,
Amen.
and
Praise
I'm one of those people that people they come up to me and say, "Brother, I'm inspired by your story." I'm like, they're like, "Man, you made it through all of that, and you don't look like what you've been through in your life. God is amazing."
Amen. Yes, he is. Firekeeper. Going back to you. This question is for everybody, actually. Each one of you, tell one of the most exciting experiences that you've had being a part of the Poet organization. And I know you guys probably done a lot of different things because you're all over the place. But if you can, just think of one thing that was the most exciting or the most memorable thing that you've experienced thus far being with POET?
All right. I would say the most inspiring experience that I've had happened recently. I wrote a piece called These Shoes, which was a tribute to Harriet Tubman. And I feel that that piece was God inspired or Harriet Tubman inspired because I don't know how to freestyle, but that piece, and it's a long piece, I freestyled on it. I just heard it. And as I heard it, I started saying it. And it frightened me because I didn't know what I was going to say next. But I just sat on the side of the bed and I just started saying that poem. And after I said, well, I better write it down. So I went down to my computer desk and I wrote it down. What is interesting about it is that it stopped. I heard the voices and then it stopped. And I knew that it was only halfway there. I knew this was half of the poem. And I waited, although I typed the first half. And then I waited. And then about 2 weeks later, the second half came. And it was the same thing. I just heard it and I wrote it down. And when I look at the original writing, there's no errors there. I just wrote it. And then it was very easy to remember because it's like it's inside of me. And so I started a poem called These Shoes, where I was speaking in the mind of Harriet Tubman, who has died and come back to earth to speak to. And somehow it became a hit. And I've done it so many lost count since I've written it. And I had the experience, I would say, what date was that you had your event, Word Warrior? How long ago was that?
Which event?
Your last event.
Anniversary event.
Your last event that you had.
That I just had?
Yeah. That's when I went. That's what I'm asking him because that's the day I could not make his event because I went to Canada.
March 25th. I'm sorry.
All right. So thank you. That's what it was. I went to Canada and I was able to perform my poem, These Shoes, in the church that Harriet Tubman helped to build. Okay. And I spoke to some people and they said, oh, I didn't know Harriet Tubman was in Canada. But, we know that the original game with slavery, and it was a game, it was a cruel game. The original game was if you are a slave and you escape to a free state, then you are free. However, so many slaves were running away and escaping that they changed the rules and the laws of the game. And so now it became, if you run away, if someone can catch you and bring you back, you are a slave again. And so when Harriet Tubman, and this was the Dred Scott case that determined that law being enacted. And so when that happened, Harriet Tubman began taking slaves, not just to states north of the Mason-Dixie line. She started taking slaves all the way into Canada. And because she was so fearful that some slave catchers would come into Canada to try to catch slaves, she took them all the way up to the northern tip of Canada, to Ontario. And there's a little town there called St. Catharines. And that was the last stop of the Underground Railroad. And she stayed there, she lived there. And the slaves were not happy with the weather there because it's awfully cold in St. Catharines, but they preferred the cold of Arctic Canada to slavery. And so they endured. So if you go up there, you will see all of these Black people living in Ontario, Canada. And they are the descendants of the slaves who escaped. We who are in this country are the ones whose ancestors did not escape slavery. And we became free through the emancipation, such as my great-great-grandfather was born a slave, but he was emancipated as a baby. So I was very honored. I was very humbled. I was very thrilled to go to the church that Harriet Tubman helped build and perform a poem about her. So that was my most recent experience, and I know that had I not been a part of Poet and been out there performing, that would not have happened because it's through being a member of Poet that I learned spoken word. I've been a poet since I was 13, but I was not a spoken word poet artist. I was just a poet, and I wrote things down and I saved them, and that is why I can publish 4 books in one year because I have so much written. Mhm.
Wow, that's amazing. Enjoy the education, people. Enjoy the education. All right, so I'm gonna repeat the question. That was good.
Thank you.
You kind of I'm gonna ask you some other stuff if I have time. If not, of course, I'm gonna have you back to the show on multiple occasions. We're gonna talk about that. Tell us, Brother O or Word Warrior, whichever one of you want to go first.
I'll go.
Okay. What was one of your most exciting or memorable experience that you've had with Poet?
Oh, my experience was like it gave me a sense of family structure. Uh, it's like people who were not related to me took me in their open arms and showed me love, and they're the ones who actually encouraged me to be who I am today. Black Ice is a huge part of my success as a poet. And when I first came to poet, people say in the beginning, Black Ice told me the story that man, that brother, you got something. But some people were saying that you won't last a year. And I told him, okay, so I'm gonna last a year. I'm gonna show them better than I can tell them. That was 8 years ago when I first got started.
I have to give Brother O a high five for those of you who can't see it.
And here I am 8 years later. I've, I've been a part of the first 3 poet books, about to get in the 6th anthology, and I'm just ready to, because the world is ready for me now.
Yes.
The world, the world is ready, waiting to hear my story, and it's inspired me to want to be an author, and even put out a CD. But I think Black Ice are pushing me to where I am today, because if it wasn't for him, I'll just be a poet going from open mic set to open mic set, like going around the circle. But you need somebody to get you out of that comfort zone, to push you to where you need to go. And I sincerely thank our president of POET, Black Ice, for just showing me that by as someone who's been around, they see something in you and they'll push you. And I'm thankful that he did.
Absolutely. Word.
It's so much with Poet. We do so much. I'm telling you, it's enough. I tell people all the time, it's enough to drive you crazy. We do a lot. But what you have to realize is we're not just a regular organization. We are an artist activist movement.
Yes.
And we give back to the community. That makes a difference. We're not just grabbing mics. We're not just trying to be seen and be heard. We're trying to help. We're trying to give back. But I have to say, my I, the fact that for years Black Ice was like, you can't do this by yourself. You've been out here, look how far you got. You need to come on and join, because there's benefits to a family, because people have things to offer you that can help you wherever you want to take this. And I have to say, it would be my first CD, because everybody looks at things differently, right? But to get in your vehicle and turn on the car and listen to yourself, woo, when you've been listening to music and rap all your life, and you can say, hold on, let me play my track for you.
Right.
That feeling right there,
Wow.
it's amazing. If it was not for Black Ice and the Poet organization, I couldn't do that. So I'm so proud of the CD. And now I'm motivated to do a second one. So I'm just thankful and humble for the Poet organization and thankful for God directing me to do Poet. Because I had to I can say this what you want to do. And after I prayed over it and all that, the decision was to go with Poet. So I would have to say it would be, we do so much. I like Inglewood with the Rage program, mentoring the kids, assisting with the Special Olympics. We do so much, but the CD will be my proudest time.
Awesome. Now, how did you all get connected or become a part of POET?
When I first came to Chicago 8 years ago, there's the brother Just Words. He happened to hear me one night while I was at the shack called Cultural Cool in Gary, Indiana. He was so impressed that he brought me this, brother. You need to come to Chicago. You need to perform in Chicago because I believe that you can reach a lot more people. And then I just happened to run into Black Ice, and Black Ice, he was like, brother, there's something about you. You got something special. He said, come to my organization. And I said, okay. I said, people with extraordinary talent. I was seeing the couple of the brothers with the shirts. I said, I said, this is something I should be interested in, and being a part of an organization would do wonders for me.
Yes.
Because I realized that I'm more capable. I believe that I'm more capable than what people had told me. Some people told me that I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. Okay, you say I can't. I said, let me show you.
That's right. Firekeeper?
All right. There's a book called The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. And I'm going to do a play on words with that and say that a poet's life is a lonely hunter. Because when you're writing poetry and you're not with a group and you're not performing, it's a lonely endeavor. And you fill up notebooks and then you put them in a box and you get another notebook. You fill that up, you put it in a box. And I had been writing poetry since I was 13 years old. And basically that's what I had been doing. Because I felt I was inarticulate, I felt I should write down my thoughts, because if I changed my mind, I could always erase it and correct myself. And it was a protectionist, a protective kind of a strategy, I would say, to write rather than to speak. And so I wrote and I wrote and I wrote. But after having taught school for 34 years, and I had all these poems and I kept writing, and I said, what am I going to do with them? And I said, I need to get out there and let people hear them. And so I decided after maybe 10 years after retirement, I will try to be a spoken word artist. And my first attempt, I went to a church and I saw Black Ice and his group, the Poets. And I was so impressed. And it was a poetry competition. And I approached Black Ice after the event was over. And I said, I would like to be in your group. And he said, okay. And then that was the end of that. Never heard anything. He didn't give me anything. I didn't know how to contact him even. So I just kept writing. And then it turns out I went to another church This was Greenstone Church, church, and I went there for an event. And again, I saw Black Ice and the poets. And so I went up to him again and I said, hi, I said, I met you at the other church. I said, I don't know if you remember me, but I want to be in your group. And he said, okay. And that was the end of it. And I never heard anything. I didn't know how him. I didn't have a phone number. I didn't have anything. So then I went to Mike's book signing, which was at Carnegie Woodson Library. And again, Black Ice showed up with the poets. This is the first time I saw Word Warrior.
Okay.
And Word Warrior was poets there performing. And Black Ice was there. And I went up to him and I said, I'm going to be in your group. I'm going to be in your group. And he said, well, okay. But he didn't seem enthusiastic. And I suspected maybe it was because I'm older and he had this image of, young hip hop, players. And he's thinking, here this old woman comes, coming here wanting to be in my group, spoiling our image and everything. So I think that was it. Okay. But I told him, I said, I'm going to be in your group and you give me a number right now that I can call, or you give me something. I'm going to be in your group. And so he said, okay. And this time he invited me to go to Endura's home. It was for face-to-face meeting because we meet on radio once a week. And he invited me to come to the face-to-face. And I went to the face-to-face meeting at Endura's home. And we have a rule in Poet. It's rule number 5, which is always be prepared. And so I didn't know that because I had just met everyone. That's when I first saw other Poet members personally up close. And he explained, he said, we have these rules, and he named the rules. And he said, rule number 5 is always be prepared. And he said, that means at any given time, if someone says, spit a poem, you spit a poem. So I said, fine, and the meeting was over. We said the prayer, and I was picking up my purse, and I was ready to go. And he said, I wasn't firekeeper then. I was Loretta Hawkins. He said, Loretta Hawkins, rule number 5. And that meant I was supposed to spit a poem. So I spit a poem called Only One Thing. And the reaction was astonishing.
Yes.
It was astonishing. And that tape, I think it has about 7,000 now views on it right now. But and Black Ice said it's going to go viral. It's, he said this is something. So he allowed me to be in the group. And I'm forever grateful because that allowed me to not be lonely. I have a family.
Yes. Amen. That's beautiful. Word Warrior. Oh, you told us already, right?
Well,
no, you didn't. You didn't tell us that.
It's like Ice was always tugging on me because it took me a long time to come to Poet. I'm not quick to do anything. I sit back, I pray for discernment, all that. So he was tugging on me for years, like 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And I prayed over it. And I thought about what he said. He said, think about how far you came by yourself, but think about how far you can go. He said, individually, we are great, but collectively, we are phenomenal. And I prayed over it, and I text this man at 5 in the morning. And I said, bro, I'm ready. He like, you ready? I'm like, I'm ready to join Poet. He like, well, all right then.
He was like, it's about time. I've been telling you, knucklehead. We're gonna get ready to wrap it up. I wanted to know if Firekeeper, if you could close us out with 1933.
Yes, I can. I was hanging from a tree. It was 1933. They were lynching me. I had almost lost all hope. I was dying from hope. Then the rope broke. My body fell to precious ground. The lynchers gathered all around. I could hear my heart pound. I was shocked I was not dead. I was morbidly afraid. Oh, damn, the leader said. He was mad I was still alive. My eyes roamed. I counted their tribe. There were 5. What's a white man supposed to do? Let a nigga just walk on through? Nigga, this sundown town wasn't built for you. Hell, here 5 grown white men stand without knife or gun in hand. Ain't that something grand? Well, another lyncher said, we can just hit him on the head with a rock or a brick or lead. We ain't got no lead or brick. Anyway, that's way too quick. Plus a nigga's head is thick. We gonna ride back into town before the sun comes completely down. This was said with a vicious frown. Gonna tell the folks to come round, come out and see what we done found. I could still hear my heart pound. Tell them to bring some food. Tell them to bring the kids, bring food. Bring that picture-taking man, Mark Trude. We gotta set the proper mood. After tying me to a tree, 4 rode off in festive glee, leaving just 1 to now guard me. The one left just stared at me. Then he took a knife from his pocket and walked toward me. Would he kill me? I closed my eyes, silently prayed to God. When I no longer on this earth trod, God, I will come to thee. The man walked past me to behind the tree, and then he proceeded to untie me. Dear God, I thought, how can this be? He said, boy, I done set you free. So don't you up now and try to kill me. If you want to live, just run, see? He said, one thing I want you to understand, I never have or never will kill a man. I'll leave that mess in God's hands. Then he told me which way to go. He said, you'll come to a river, jump in, take its flow. When you get to the bend, then you will know. By then it will be night. Keep the North Star in your sight. The moss on trees will guide you right. I began to run beneath the darkening sky. I wanted so desperately to not die. I wanted to live. I had no choice but to try. I came to the river, saw alligators, a poisonous snake, but this was the river I had to take. I jumped in head first, sealing my fate. Somehow the waters helped carry me, and with every stroke, I felt closer to free. At the bend, I looked up, the North Star I could see. I ran, swam, and crawled in my quest to be free. And all of this happened in 33, when God stopped savages from lynching me.
And that's that piece. Firekeeper, can you tell the people how to contact you for booking or get your books or CD?
Okay, I have books on Amazon. I have 2 poetry books. One is called These Shoes, and the other is called The Way We Be. I have a novel on Amazon. It's called My Cousin Juju, and I have a play on Amazon titled Of Quiet Birds. So you can buy those books on Amazon if you like, or you can contact me at 776-0085 if you want to buy the copy from me, which might be a little cheaper. Also, I can be contacted on Facebook under the name Loretta Firekeeper Hawkins. You can Google me if you want information about me. If you Google me, please Google Loretta Hawkins / African Literature. And that's how you can contact me. Okay. I will be performing Sunday at the Quarry. I will be a feature for Soul of Soul for the Poetry Month.
Awesome.
This Sunday at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Brother O, how can the people contact you for booking?
You can either contact me at 219-433-4503, Brother O, 1975 at yahoo.com, or connect with me on Facebook under my name, Omar, Brother O Gatling.
All right. Word Warrior?
So you can reach me, phone number 773-354-3582. Email is wordwarrior73@gmail.com. Facebook is Eddie, EDDFELTON, Word Warrior in parentheses. Instagram is Eddie B. Word, and Twitter is a master poet. Yes, so that's pretty much all I can think of. Oh, YouTube. I do have a YouTube page also, and YouTube is Word Warrior.
All right, and then those are the places they can also purchase the book and the CD.
The CD, they need to reach me.
Okay.
And the book is on Amazon, A Poet's Journey.
Okay. Awesome.
May I give my email address, which I forgot to give?
Absolutely.
My email address is my name backwards, HawkinsLoretta@gmail.com. Thank you.
Beautiful. If you're interested in sponsoring, donating, what other better cause than Everyday People Radio Show? You're giving back and supporting the broadcast that's all about you, all about people, connection, love, peace, and humanity. You can connect with me on Facebook, April Deshawn. You can inbox me. You can 224-214-0259. You can also email me at sunup2sunup@gmail.com. That's SUNUP, the number 2, SUN, I can't never say this email right, I'm sorry. SUNUP, the number 2, SUNUP@gmail.com. Sunup2sunup.com @gmail.com. All right, so this has been an Everyday People radio show on Intellectual Radio and iHeartRadio station. Please connect with me again on next Wednesday p.m. to 6 CNU. We'll see you then. God bless and peace.
I thought as a
And
child,
poetry.
but when I became a woman, I put away childish things. Timid. In an environment of forced silence. Not by violence, but stifled by the one who led me. No options laid out, no multiple choice. So I pressed mute on the nearest remote to shut off my own voice. Sequestered like an unopened gift sitting inside a box with locks, purposely unsecured but left hanging. Perched inside, banging on the walls, dying to be free, crying to be me, trying my best to see, but in the dark everything is black. And often I was too afraid to scream, so in silence I remained, quietly maintained, and the box became my safety, my own personal den. But I needed some kind of release, so I found paper and then a pen, and began to scream into the pouring out my heart. For years, many stages of life carved its longest path to 21 days of consecration. That led to an invitation to speak, to share this gift, lift the hearts of others, and encourage the weak. During that time, I was dealing with the death of my mother. I was hesitant, but little did I know I would be well received by my sisters and my brothers. And Tanisha Renee began to step to mics, not for fame or likes, but for peace of mind and in obedience. So I started attending poetry sets, and in my caterpillar stage, I was hungry. Green as can be, but not with envy or jealousy. My green meant I was full of life and vitality. And when I ate, I feasted on knowledge and things on my mind that challenged me. I crawled inching along, struggling to find my own voice and true identity, not realizing the work God was doing when He wrapped me up in His security. Cocoon for transformation. And then I went through a metamorphosis, and in this He killed off those things that held me back, and I saw the corpses of fear, insecurity, rejection, and other evil forces. He told me that the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy, but he comes to give life, and that more abundantly. No more standing in the background with your fright wrapped up in anxiety. Everything you need is already inside of you, so just talk to me. I said, Lord, I don't need the biggest name or the glory. I just want to be free. He told me, keep writing, but you must open your mouth to unleash the beast. You got a storm inside of you raging. Katrina has nothing on you. You've been in darkness long enough, so stand by. I'm about to break your levee. Black butterfly, come out wherever you are. Your wings are ready. So I've been set free from bondage, and now I'm taking flight. I had to fight my way from